Bandidos, what up? Tux here. I am excited to be sharing with you a brand new series here for YouTube and The Division 2. Today, we're covering the best of the community's builds, your favorites, and the ones you recommended the community needs to check out right now. Let's do this.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
Piece of shit wristwatch.
This is a new series. The format for it might change over time, but just to give you a gist of what's going on here is that I made an announcement a little over a week ago that I wanted to be covering your favorite builds. I wanted to highlight the ones that you guys love. So we created a channel on Discord. This is the spot to post your favorite builds. There's no requirements to it except to share your details and tell us why it's your favorite. So that's important. Otherwise, it can be solo, it can be heroic, legendary, group, can even be PvP. I'm not surprised at all that you guys started off really strong. I'll put a link down below. Everybody's welcome to participate here. So we also have this channel over here. It's called Build Talks, and people just might ask questions, but also share builds. But the build showcase is different. It's serving the sole purpose of highlighting your favorite builds. What I'll be doing is picking a few builds to highlight in this video. Of course, I'm not going to be able to cover all of them, and there are some really cool builds in here, and I wish that I could, but this video, I don't want to get ridiculously long. So we'll just keep the series going, but continue to post your favorite builds as you discover them or as we get new gear and new seasons. And even if you're not sharing builds, definitely recommend checking out this channel to get really good build ideas. So if you're tired of just running the same old build and you want to know what else is working for people out there, this is going to be your spot. So for this first video, what I'm going to do is discuss a few highlights and then actually go into more detail on one particular build that I think you should run today. Full disclosure, the one I'm choosing to feature in this video by actually creating it and equipping it isn't necessarily better than the other builds, but I thought that it holds some unique value for what's going on right now in the game. So let's go over the first one. This one we're going to be discussing. I'm not actually going to run it and equip it, but I have before actually. This comes from Mandalo R on Discord, and he says, I like this face hugger build. Hunters and elites don't stand a chance when I'm in their face. So that sounds like this could be a really good floor 100 build for the summit, or maybe even for countdown. So he says Firewall, Striker Shield and Scorpio, Catharsis Mask, Badger and Bellstone backpack and chest, which can be interchangeable, with Adrenaline Rush and Intimidate on the chest. 3-piece improvise, crits everywhere, and most importantly, he's listing protection from elite mods. So the weapon of choice here is the Scorpio, and I agree that's a really good weapon against hunters, for example, because you're paralyzing them, but also against chungas. Now the Catharsis Mask is pretty cool. One of the things about the Catharsis Mask is as you take damage, you build stacks. You can get 30 of those. That's going to apply weapon damage to you, and then any damage above that 30, it's going to cause the mask to purge, which will heal you, but also wipe any status effects away from you. It also heals your team, and then he's got protection from elites as the mod there. So let's go to the backpack next. He's running Bellstone. He's got armor and crits, and then protection from elites, and then Adrenaline Rush for his backpack talent. So Adrenaline Rush comes and goes, but its uptime is frequent, but it's not constant. That makes sense. So I think it's a 5-second timer. Either way, it's always there, and it's based on how much armor you're running. So it's very useful. So even if they wipe your bonus armor or even some of your regular armor, then it's still going to come up based on your max armor. The catch to it is you have to be close to the enemy. I think it might be 10 meters, maybe 15. That's why he's calling it a face hugger, and that's why he's running the shotgun. So you want to get up in there. So he's running the Badger chest with Intimidate to complement the backpack. So this is kind of a dynamic duo. So he's got armor crits and more protection from elites, and then Intimidate. Intimidate's going to give you more damage when you have bonus armor, and it builds a little bit over time. It does stack quite quick, but you also lose it every time Adrenaline Rush resets, which is frequent. So it's going to be this up and down thing, and you might not ever get the full stacks, just depends. But this still works. One of the reasons why he's chosen Intimidate, besides its synergy with armor and bonus armor, it's because he's running a shotgun. So even if he has crits, it's really hard to build up stacks on something like Obliterate sometimes, even though you're shooting with pellets. Another alternative suggestion is if you're running modifiers, then put on a pulse. The catch is if you're fighting hunters all the time, they'll disable that pulse. But when you're running this for other content like legendary or heroic, whatever, then that pulse is going to have a really good uptime. But that'll allow you to run spotter on your chest instead. And then you could run perfect spotter. And instead of running badger, you could run that Uzi Nagetica perfect spotter chest piece. You got a really good and more consistent chest piece damage type. Either way, I do recommend trying Intimidate. I might be wrong there. Maybe the uptime is better than it seems. It's been a long time since I've run this actual combo. It used to be the meta combo before the devs made those changes to Intimidate, by the way. Next, for his gloves, his knees, and his holster, he's running improvised gear. Improvised is really unique. So for you new players, listen up. Your gloves, knees, and holster don't allow you to run mods on them, but improvised gear do. You can create improvised gear at the crafting bench, and you can craft in any variety with skill tiers and crits, weapon damage and headshot damage, whatever. It's an expensive process to perfect this, but they are worth having a nice set for builds exactly like what Mandalo is featuring here. And you can tailor it for assault rifles, SMGs. So I'm just gonna cover the gloves. Just know that the holster and the knees are basically the same. But for the gloves, for example, he's got armor and crits, and then he put a protection from elite mod. Not sure what his total protection from elites is here, because those could be 12%, it could be 13%, maybe they're 11s. 80% is the cap, and this is probably really close to the cap. So he's running the striker shield, which is also more damage. So when you're getting in the face, you're jumping in on those spawns, there's going to be multiple enemies in front of you, and that striker shield will give you more weapon damage, scaling based on how many enemies are standing in front of you. Good job, Mandalo. That's an awesome build, man. Thanks for sharing with us. So I'm marking the ones that I'm sharing explicitly with you guys on YouTube with the little Tux emblem here. All right, the second build I wanted to quickly go over with you, this one I'll move a little bit faster, is this bleed build. This one is by Prodigy Reflex. Is that the same name here? Yeah, Prodigy Reflex. He's on PC. Shout out to him for sharing this. This is actually a really cool build. So it's an ongoing directive build, which gives you special ammo, which is going to give you amplified damage. It also causes the enemies to bleed. So with this build, you can get those enemies to die off of a single bullet because they're going to bleed out. That's for solo, normals and veterans. And then for elites, it'll take a couple of bullets. So just to get their armor down a little bit so that they can bleed out. So the way ongoing directive works is you have to have a status effect to earn the special ammo that gives you amplified damage and bleed. But then the ammo itself, because it causes bleed, as long as the enemy dies with that bleed on them, then you're going to earn more ammo and so on and so forth. And that ammo is also shared with your team. The Vial Mask is a really interesting addition to this build because it also applies a damage over time tick, and its strength is built off of explosive damage if you want to, or status effects. And so he's playing it into the status effects. So for each one of those status effect attributes he has rolled on his build, it's making the Vial Mask's debuff stronger. So he's gonna have tick from the Vial Mask, which activates when any status effect is applied to an enemy from any source you inflict. So damage over time from the Vial Mask, damage over time from ongoing directive. And then ongoing directive is going to give him amplified damage for the bullets, but then he's running Providence as this chest piece with probably perfect glass cannon, which is going to amplify all those sources of damage. So damage from his weapon, which he has chosen the Pestilence, which is an interesting weapon for this set because that's another tick. So the Pestilence is going to apply Plague of the Outcast, which is also a damage debuff based off of red cores. So this is a very unique build, really cool. I've run this build before and even recently, but I used the blue screen. That doesn't give you a tick, but it does apply a status effect, so you don't have to rely on your other status effects. The Pestilence is strong as an LMG, and then it's applying a third tick, so it's another synergy, very nice. Now that tick from the Pestilence is not a status effect, so it's not going to activate the Vial Mask, but it will have bleed ammo from the gear set, which will activate the Vial Mask. And it doesn't matter what's activating the Vial Mask as long as something's activating it. And then that glass cannon is buffing all of that damage. It's buffing the damage from the Pestilence bullets, and then from the Plague of the Outcast, the Vial Mask, and the bleed. It's crazy. Probably protection from elites. I think that's what the blue mods are. And then he's got status effects and red cores. And then ongoing directive again is giving him amplified damage, status effects, reload speed, and special ammo. Gunner for more ammo, but also 10% armor on kill, and then he's running the Banshee Pulse. That's probably his source of status effects. That might be a Stinger Hive. I can't quite tell. It looks like it's yellow, so my guess is that's a Stinger Hive, which is going to apply bleed to enemies. So Prodigy says this is the triple tick, relies on Pestilence, red cores, OD rounds to proc bleed and vial, and status effect rolls to buff the mask and the bleed, which is also buffed by the backpack. That's right, I forgot to mention that. So the backpack gives you longer duration and more damage to the bleed. Odds are PFE, oh good. And then Pestilence is rolled to damage to armor. And damage to armor is good, it makes the bleed stronger, by the way. So Glass is here to buff all 3 tick sources. Yeah, very good build, Prodigy. I bet you're having fun with that. A lot of good builds here, guys. It was a tough choice. But the one I'm featuring today actually comes from Squad 51. Shout out to Squatty for sharing this. And I've actually always wanted to try this build, so I'm glad he posted it. But this one just shreds. So I'm going to be running it on Camp White Oak, and I'll be sharing that gameplay footage with you. And I did test it in Legendary Solo, and it works pretty good also. So Squad says, this has turned into my favorite build. Plus you can use it with or without modifiers. We like to go all red, but you got to work with what you have. I used to run it with Fox's Prayer knee pads, but the Turmoil knees I think are better. I agree with that. That's how I decided to run it. You can run Glass Cannon on the chest, but not my playstyle. I agree. I don't think it's worth it, the Glass Cannon on this one. So backpack is the Backbone backpack, Contractor's gloves, and 3 pieces of Langmo. Then he's at 48% crit chance and 153% crit hit damage. You probably want to tinker around with that. These numbers are a little bit off. Oh, he's doing it for the Coyote's mask. I see why he's doing that. Okay, I get it. And also the modifiers. Never mind. Squad knows what he's doing. Okay, so we're gonna flip over to my actual build now, which is built off of his. This is how I made it. It's basically the same. We got the Pestilence that gives us Plague of the Outcast up, damage to armor on mine. Gunner, just like he had. My backup is just an assault rifle, run whatever. But here's the Backbone. I'm lucky enough to have one that's all red, but a little bit of armor is not going to hurt this build. The weapon damage makes the ticks from the Plague of the Outcast stronger. So all the weapon damage is going to help. And this gear set, when you run 3 pieces, gives you that LMG damage, which is what we're after. And then we got crit damage and crit chance everywhere, perfectly unstoppable. Killing an enemy increases total weapon damage by 7% for 15 seconds. It stacks up to 5 times. Basically, you're making those ticks from the Plague of the Outcast and your weapon damage overall stronger. Contractor's gloves give us LMG damage and damage to armor. And then I got crits. These are the new Turmoil knee pads. That really elevated this build. Tons of fun. You don't have to think about it. Just point and shoot. I never felt weak with this thing. Langmo, crits everywhere. Coyote mask. I'm not built into the Coyote mask, so my crits are a little bit different just because I feel like I'm at all ranges, so I played it on the safe side. Not a big fan of the Coyote mask. I get why you want to use it. It's really helpful for teams, but I have an alternate build for people like me that don't always want to run the Coyote's mask. So here's my chest piece. It's not that great. I would like to put a red core there, but armor's fine also. Obliterate, so that's why you want to get your crits up as high as possible so you get more out of that. And then I have weapon handling and crit chance. So stats wise, I end up at 57, 115. And then the Coyote is kicking in, which means I'm probably over and above the cap. I run modifiers. I like the modifiers, and the ones I chose are Overdrive, and then the coils to catch them on fire and help our momentum, crits for momentum, and then crits to heal. The decoy I chose because LMGs just spend a lot of time out of cover laying it down. So the decoy is going to redirect that incoming damage away from you. It's also going to pulse enemies that are targeting it, thus catching them on fire and also giving me more momentum. The other skill I'm running is the Scanner Pulse. This is actually going to be pretty good because we're going to be in overcharge state most of the time, if not always. That's going to give us great duration, but it's also going to give us more amplified damage at 15%, which is also going to help the ticks. If you decided to go sharpshooter with tactician, then I would recommend going spotter on your chest and picking up that amplified damage for your weapon too. If you go spotter on your chest, then you can play down your crits a little bit. You wouldn't have to drive so much crit chance on your build, but at the same time, you'd still have the damage you're looking for. So I think spotter with the tactician drone could be good. If you want to stick with gunner because of its armor on kill and the ammo, I get that. You could also run the Night Watcher mask. I don't think I have it here. Yeah, I do. So this Night Watcher mask would pretty much give you 100% uptime. I'd almost prefer this setup like this over, and then I could put crit damage here but that'll give us a really good uptime on our pulse. So the duration is 9.6 seconds and the cooldown is 8.8. So unlimited is what that means. And because it's overcharged, that's amplified damage. And you're catching people on fire. Crowd control. So I'm gonna leave you with the gameplay. Check it out and be sure to join us over on Discord. We want to see your builds. This isn't a place to be judgy or anything like that. Share your favorite builds and just tell us why. Shout out to everybody that's participated. Apologize I can't get everybody's build on here, but hopefully next week we get yours up here. Catch you on the next one. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Tuxedo Bandido, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the good stuff I have coming for you. And if you like content like this, be sure to check out the video I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make things possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be the same without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Wait, did we just become best friends?